I'm going to call our Human Relations Commission to order at 6:33 p.m. And Gabe, would you like to start with our roll call?
Yeah, it looks like we
It looks
just
like we
lost.
dropped.
I'll go very slow. Commissioner Kolkow,
Kolko is here.
Davis,
Present.
Soriano,
Present.
Cummins, Jones, Fisher, Dean.
Dean was here.
Yep.
Let me check in.
Okay.
She said her internet just went out. Should be back in a minute. I wonder if other people are having internet problems.
Right. You have 3, almost 4 present.
Do you know if Commissioner Cummins had said she was coming or not?
She did say she would be here, I believe.
Okay.
No.
Sorry for the canine.
Jamie made it.
Yay.
Hi, Jamie. We lost Alice. Oh, hey, Jamie. We lost Allison a minute ago. I think we might be. Did you have internet problems where you're at?
Nope, we're at an indoor soccer game.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Gabe, do you want to continue?
Yeah, well, with that, we're at 4 currently present, so you're good to go, and I can just note that in the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
This is so good.
And is there any business from the public, Kim? Awesome.
Nope.
And we'll go into approval of minutes from the April meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? All right. I would entertain any motions to approve.
I motion to approve the minutes.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none
Aye.
opposed. All right. And now we'll get into scheduled business. Let's just get Wendy introduced from the NAACP. Hi, Wendy.
Hello. Do you want me to just talk, or what is the game plan for me here?
Yes. So Wendy is the community coordination chair for the NAACP. And I believe you wanted to come and share about the Juneteenth celebration that's happening and how people can get plugged into that.
I do, and I also want to put in a plug for money. So there you go. That's where I'm coming from here. So this year we're having the Juneteenth celebration at the C3 building in Corvallis, the Corvallis Community Center. It'll be June 19th, which is nice. We can actually have it on the holiday, and it will be 4 to 7 p.m. So we did that because it's a holiday and yet not everyone's going to have it off. So we thought having it at noon didn't feel quite fair because that's when we usually have it. So we're trying to have it a little bit later and just make it more inclusive. So we will have, last year we had our first Black-owned business expo. We started small and I think we're still going to be small, but we're trying. we're trying to make these opportunities happen. This year it's going to be a little bit different because people who are crafts people, arts people, that kind of thing can sell their wares. Last year we couldn't do that. And so we're kind of excited to see what kind of things people are going to be bringing and who shows up. But as far as I know, I think we still have only around 10 people signed up. But you know, you're a month away and probably 2 weeks from now is when people will start signing up. So, you know, that's how it rolls. We are also having a community fair. So far we have 20 something people signed up for that. So I'm super excited about that. I would love to see more Albany people. I am much more in touch with Corvallis folks just because I am. So if you guys have ideas of people that I could reach out to that you think would be great for tabling, please let me know. We're also, yes, Kim?
Sorry, I'm old school. I still raise my hand. As far as tabling opportunities, is there anything in particular that you have to distribute or pass out or anything like that to be involved? As I know, another commission, the Arts Commission, was interested in potentially tabling, but didn't know necessarily if they could or if they could volunteer. So do you have to have something to sell or distribute or?
Not at all. Not at all. Like people are just showing up. And the only thing that I'm requesting, and I have a couple folks I'm going to have to let know this, is if you have a political kind of slant to your thing, it's got to be, I was going to say non-denominational, but you know the word I'm looking for there. So because we cannot take a political stand as the NAACP, and so we don't want to have that be an issue for us. But otherwise, and also I would throw that out that religious as well, just because we want to be all inclusive and don't want to look like we have one agenda. But otherwise, no, I know our the art center here in Corvallis is going to have a table, so you can bring swag, you can bring info, you can let us know about upcoming events, whatever. So that's kind of what we're doing at the community tables. That's the plan. So we've actually also reached out to both of the county public health and the, sorry, I got a lot of ums here. Benton County is going to do a harm reduction kind of thing. So they're going to talk about suicide prevention, and they're going to talk about fentanyl, and they're going to have Narcan kits. So is that how you say it? I think that's right. So we're super excited about that. Lynn has also said that they're interested, but they haven't decided what they're going to do. So they're still talking. So I think that's a really nice slant. I think it's really important stuff, and especially, you know, there's just been a lot of unfortunate things happening. So we are going to have free food. We're trying real hard. I've reached out and I'm working with 5 different Black-owned eateries. We're going with, so far we've got the Kento Hibachi Express from Lebanon signed up, and Tara's Tasty Treats, and the Beer Library is going to do gumbo and cornbread, so we're super excited about that. Also trying to work with Mugs in Lebanon and Baker's Dozen in Albany. So trying to spread that out a little bit, and we're actually going to have white folks do the serving. So the Black folks are going to get paid for their stuff, but then they get to go off and have fun. As Rick from the hibachi place said, yeah, I like kissing babies and shaking hands. I'm like, yeah, it's all yours. That sounds like a great opportunity. We're also going to have a ton of kid stuff. We're going to have crafts. Party Perfection's going to come and do face painting and balloons. We're going to have a photo booth. What else are we going to have? I don't know. We're going to have t-shirts to give away, probably bags to give away, plants to give away. We're going to have music by DJ Kirkwood, which is, he's our go-to, so that's always good. I don't know. I feel like that feels like plenty, doesn't it? It's only 3 hours. It's nice because having it at the C3 building even though we're going to be in the building, so they're actually a co-sponsor because they've donated the space. But also, even if we go long, we can be outside. So if it's a nice day, like, you know, we can continue to have conversation, maybe use their outside tables and that kind of stuff outside. And definitely, I haven't decided yet whether we're going to try and set up lawn games. That kind of feels like a lot. It's a lot of things going in too many directions, and then I think you almost dilute the whole experience. So still playing with that. Still playing.
Great.
So-
Did you
Thank
say?
you, Wendy.
Yeah. All right, Robin?
I was going to say, did you say that you had plants to give away?
We are going to have plants to give away. Last
Wow.
year we had plants for little herb gardens, and people came and they picked up a couple of herbs that they wanted. We had we had pots, and we had soil, and they walked away with stuff. So hopefully
Now
we're going
you're
to make that
talking.
happen again.
Awesome. Sold.
Awesome. Yes, the
I wish it was that easy.
Juneteenth is a super, super fun event. Definitely I'll be there. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. It's super fun.
So I'm just going to throw out there that we start out with a budget. We do have a budget through the NAACP. And then I go out and I try to drum up more money so we can do more fun stuff. The city of Corvallis, because they still, as of this year, it's no longer exists, I believe, but we still had the King Legacy Advisory Board, and they had a budget. And so we were able to tap into that money. We usually get about $3,000 from them every year. It does not sound like the city of Albany has that same kind of structure. And so when I reached out to the city, to the city council to find out if there was some way, they said to come through you and that you would then go to them. And it just feels like a really complicated system. I don't know it, so I don't know that that's true, but I know last year I tried to jump through a couple of hoops and just landed on my face. So I thought, okay, I'll keep jumping. I don't know. It's always worth it. It's always, nice to have that one more thing. So
Yes. Thank you, Wendy. I totally get that. Unfortunately, the HRC, we don't have a budget, but what we can do is we can put it in our notes, and we'll definitely have it for our report for next year. And I know at least me and some other members of the commission are interested in seeking some grant funding. That way that we could possibly sponsor events like this.
that'd be awesome.
So
That'd be awesome.
it's on our radar. We're just getting started, and I've been chair for, I don't know, 10 minutes. So we're getting there.
And that would include things like Albany Pride and all that kind of stuff. Like, are you hoping to get some money so that you can sponsor lots of things? Is
So
that the
Albany
dream?
Pride doesn't get any money from the city.
Right.
So
I just meant if you're getting grant money, if you're trying to dream of what you would support, I assume that would be one of the things that you would be supporting.
at least speaking for me, as long as I'm running it, probably not trying to seek funding from the city, but definitely the getting community support.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys have any questions for me? Anything else you want to know?
Are there opportunities for, do you have volunteer shifts? If anybody from the HRC is interested in helping out, certain times or activities, if you want to talk about them now, you can, or you can send them to me and I'll follow up and have folks connect with you directly if they would like to.
We have a
volunteer
sign up
spot.
genius. If I'm clever enough, I'll find it and put it in your chat, but there's no promises because I cannot always find things when I'm looking for them. I get stressed out. So we need people to serve food. That will probably be 10 people right there. We need people to help with the kids stuff. We always need people to set up and tear down. That's kind of how that rolls. And then there will be people that are just kind of floating just to make sure that things are going as planned. So it takes a lot of volunteers, you all know that. Just anytime you have one of these kind of things, it takes people. And one of the hard parts, as you also know, we have no idea how many people are going to come, right? Like it could be 100 and it could be 500. So we're planning for 3 and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, just send me the sign up genius via email. 'Cause
Okay.
we actually aren't able to use chat at this point for public meetings, which is
Okay.
good. That gives you more time and you're not
To
on the spot.
find
So, and then I'll send it out probably tomorrow morning just to get a sense of spreading the word.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
Of course. And Wendy, before at the end of this meeting, when we're finished, I'll send you an email and I'll send you a list of all of the organizations that have tabled for Pride.
Oh, lovely.
And if you don't have it tonight, shoot me an email tomorrow and I'll get it to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Keith. That'd be great.
Of course.
That'd be great. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night. Awesome. Next on our agenda is the Human Relation Commission's name. I reviewed some of the documents in Chapter 2.25 of the Albany Municipal Code. And within some of the definitions and our purpose establishment, I believe that at least to start doing the work and having people really understand what it is that we do and why we exist, that it would be important that we change our name from the Human Relations Commission to the Human Rights Commission. And that change would much better align and identify us, and it aligns with everything within the municipal code, which was written to establish the commission. I had also thought about going through and possibly amending some language in there, but after reviewing it, it's all really good, very solid. It really seems like the only thing that's missing is an appropriate name for our commission. And so definitely I want to invite everyone to check out that municipal code. I'll send out a link after the meeting, but I would definitely be interested in, since we have quorum, having a vote on changing our name to the Albany Human Rights Commission.
Is that something that we would have to take to city council afterwards? Okay.
Yes.
Keith, I'm wondering, just based on what you just said, if you want us to have a minute to actually look at the code before we take this vote. I don't know if folks feel that, like, I know you just said, I'll send this out to folks after the meeting, but I'm wondering if just having that context would be helpful for folks to see if this feels like the right move.
And I have it pulled up right now. If you want to, I can read some of the
Sure.
language.
Sure.
And I would send a link right now, but I can't.
Do you see screen share available?
Let's see. Yes.
If you want to, no, but if use that tool if that is something that you want to use.
Okay. Got it. Can everyone see I know I have my screen kind of halved. How's that? So here it is, chapter 2.25, and it goes into definitions of just words that are in here. But mainly what I was looking at was our purpose: to foster a city that's stable, safe, and just. A key word there being just. And I personally think that aligns more with rights than relations. And then down here in some of our duties and responsibilities, Commission will strive for actions that lead to positive and respectful relations, committing to diversity, equity, and inclusion in the city, created to recommend and promote activities, programs, ordinances, expenditures, and other appropriate governmental activities that will serve to maintain respectful interactions within Albany. And then ensuring historically marginalized and underrepresented people and communities in Albany have equal access to city programs and services.
Mhm.
A lot
It's
of this.
interesting to see expenditures in there, knowing that we
Mhm.
don't have a budget.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in that context, I guess it speaks to the advice that we give the city for expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then we also have the Human Relations Commission will address concerns and complaints about discrimination through education and available community resources. the duties of the Human Relations Commission may be revised at any time.
Mhm.
So,
And so the
Well,
duty, the revision, any revision in these would be a vote. Would it be the same vote as changing the name, or would it have to be a separate vote? Probably a separate vote.
I believe we would vote on it, and then we would ask our council to approve.
So it seemed like last time we changed language a couple of years ago on this. That's what we did.
Mhm. Yeah, this all looks, I think it looks great. I just wish we had a name that reflected what we are supposed to be doing more accurately.
Yeah, and frankly, the idea that the primary goal of the body or the mission, for lack of a better word, here is to foster respect. I think justice stands alone above and beyond respect. There's nothing wrong with the respect between citizens, but you can't respect injustice,
Mhm.
nor should you. I mean, should you?
I'm a little
Awesome.
bit more inclined just to like call on the language that's here,
Mhm.
to call it like the Albany Equity and Inclusion Commission.
Mhm.
Just because we want to promote rights, maybe not. Maybe people might take those rights in ways like might hear that term and think that we're supposed to be advocating for some rights that may be at odds with some of the human rights that we think of.
Okay. Can see that. Valuable feedback. Do you mind if I stop sharing my screen? Awesome.
I like diversity, equity, and inclusion.
What about or equity commission?
That's simple and it still speaks to what we're going for.
Mhm.
I just said inclusion because, and Jamie, I hear you as well. Like those are all terms that are used in that. So if we want to reflect it, and I think still, Keith, with your hope that maybe this is a place where we might be able to garner some funding.
Mhm.
It will still, it actually maybe is a little bit more, a little bit clearer to folks.
Mhm. Yeah, most people, when I tell them about the commission, think it has something to do with hiring people for the city.
The HR commission.
We're doing a poor job of that, I tell you.
Yes.
Well, with how it's worded, with the duties, I feel like the city council should be coming to us and being like, "Hey, is this okay that we do this?" Like, I feel like the wording gives us a lot more power.
Mhm.
Which is something that honestly, like we can go to the city council and try to broker that, right? And say, hey, we're looking back at this. We wanted to have a more active role and there is a place for that, I mean, the city council can't carry it all, right?
Mhm. And I mean, even having, we have some great budget committee members, but if we even had our own, if we could get our commission firing on all cylinders, we had a subcommittee that just looked at the budget and it was just looking at that with an equity lens.
I think DEI is a pretty, it's a term that more and more people are coming to know. I like human rights though too. I mean, if one is more likely to get us grant funding than the other, just from a marketing standpoint out for those, I would, defer to whoever expertise on that is. But
Well, if you'd like, we can table this and noodle on some different names and ideas. I just thought it would be a good idea if we started looking at, what our actual charge is and the code, and making sure that we had a name that aligned with that and didn't confuse folks in the community.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Oops, sorry, Robin.
no, I agree. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a good time to do it and proceed quickly to do it too. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we'll get or is everyone prepared to move on to the next item on our agenda? Great. So presenting the annual report.
So we are on the current agenda for the 14th of June for about 15 minutes. Wanted to check in to make sure that that is still something that still works with this timeline, within this discussion. I guess there's kind of two ways to go about it. If you have your 10 to 15 minutes in front of council, you can either prep them and say, this is something that we're interested in doing. We want council's permission. We would like our name to reflect X, Y, and Z values. Here are some ideas. You might get feedback that you like. You might get feedback that is going in a slightly different direction. So that invites that during that presentation, but at least you've had that conversation. Or, or we wait and we push it back so that way you present your annual award and you say, at this time, we are asking to make X, Y, and Z, name change and request for them to vote. The first way, you're probably going to see them twice, which is, totally fine. But just kind of wanted to outline your options there as to what timing looks like and what this group feels most comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm comfortable reaching out to council to see where we're at, if maybe council even has a recommendation for a name.
Okay, so I'll keep the 15 minutes on there and I'll work with you, Keith, as I have to have the memo in by Friday. So to Gabe by 5 o'clock. So you and I will be in contact probably tomorrow or Thursday, just so I can make sure I'm putting everything together. Yeah.
And at that June 14th meeting, we'll present the annual report and we'll also be presenting the Human Relations Award.
Correct. We put in the order for the statue is the wrong word. Why can't I think of it? The
plaque
stands up. Yes, plaque. Plaques don't have to be flat. Yes, put in the request for those in the order, so they should be there in time. And for that, in all honesty, what I'll do is I'll just introduce you, Keith, and pretty much step back, and you as the chair and whoever else, if there's anybody you want to present with, the show is yours at that point.
Yes. If anyone wants to be there, please let me know so we can work together on how we present these awards and present the report. Mark your calendars. It happens to be Flag Day. How fun is that? All right. So it sounds like next on the agenda, Human Relations Award. Covered it. And then we have project updates. Festival Latino Subcommittee Report.
I don't think we've met since since our last meeting. The hack had some questions. Keith, were you in that meeting, or is it Rob?
I think we both were. Yeah.
I remember there's going to be questions to Kim, but I don't know that ever was followed up on.
I know I've had exchanged some emails with Nancy and Millie regarding some of their requests and just kind of similar to the conversation that we had with Wendy as to the city doesn't necessarily have grants available or funding available, and our department, our being Parks and Recreation, doesn't have the capacity at this point to add on additional event unless something comes off, and that would be direction that we would get from city manager's office and city council. So there, I think, are still opportunities that we can continue discussion. It's just unfortunately not an easy, yes, we'll take it over and things will be fabulous. It is how can we best support the HAC moving forward independently and generating their own revenue and helping to celebrate that like we do some of our other cultural events.
And then, Allison, did you want to cover coffee with the commissioner?
Sure. Yeah. Keith, Jamie, and I met to discuss that. So the kind of our next steps is securing locations. We're trying for a location in each one of the wards that's represented. And to try to kind of stagger times and days so that we can reach as many folks as possible. So we've talked about the Albany Community Center right next to Monteith, a Starbucks on Pacific. And if anyone has suggestions for Ward 3, a spot that is located in Ward 3, please let us know. But aiming to kind of get that all settled within the next 3 weeks, and then host those probably sometime realistically in July.
Nice.
With doing outreach to NAACP, HAC, Kim, I think we'll probably hit you up for some promo once we get that stuff set. And if there are any other organizations that you think we should be reaching out to, please let us know.
Greg, did you want to cover the community walk?
I got a tentative date, September 9th. I haven't done a whole lot of work. I've been busy at work, but I feel like that's the weekend after Labor Day, and so anyways, I wanted to get a date set so we can kind of get something in the books and on the books. So September 9th, that's Saturday, unless someone has an issue with that, is kind of the morning that I'd like to have the community walk. And any feedback on that date, just let me know. But I just wanted to get a date, get it on the books so I can start planning. I have my son at work. He's a kind of a graphic designer. I'm going to try to get some type of a flyer together, but I definitely needed a date to start something like that. But beyond that, I haven't done a whole lot with that. Just looking for suggestions and also having the Parks and Rec help me promote it. I mean, that's a big one. So Kim, looking to your help on that.
Sure. And once you have the date, actually, if you want, I can kick that to Matt with the public information with city manager's office and have them work on designing, so that way you don't necessarily have to outsource unless you want to. Totally fine.
Whatever you think.
I'll work with Matt on that.
That's his. Okay.
And then the other thing is that I do know that September 9th, the two things that pop up in my head immediately are that's Antiques in the Streets, which depending on the location of the walk, that might actually be really great because there's already folks congregating in a certain area and festivity and additional activities for after the walk. So that might be something that you would want to reach out to Downtown Association that potentially would have some additional information. And then that is also, I believe, the day that Cycle Oregon comes to town, and they're going to be out at Timberland Park. It's about 1,000 riders from all over the country in a couple different countries. And I believe that is their kickoff date, but it's either the kickoff date or the date before. So their possibility of having additional non-Albanians in town, and potentially downtown exists as well.
Yeah. Are there any? Oops, sorry. Are there any rules about having a food truck in the parking lot? If we were to potentially coerce someone to have some type of food, is there any rules against that?
There would be a food vendor permit that they would just have to fill out. So through the city, our Parks and Recreation office, you can call the main line and they'll be able to answer any of the permitting questions. But that's the only thing. If you have pop up, well, for food carts, it's different now that I think about it. That goes up through the police department. Anyways, yes, I'll follow up with what would need to happen in order to get a food cart secured at a location.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. And then we've got event debriefs, potential event involvement. So tomorrow I'm hosting a housing forum for the LGBTQ community at the Albany Public Library. So if anyone in the community would like to join that, let me know. It's posted on the internet in many places.
What time is that,
And,
Keith? What time is that?
So it's a forum for members of the LGBTQ community to share their experiences on housing in Lynn and Benton counties. And that's at 6 p.m. at the main library.
Cool.
You have confirmed forum members
Yes.
coming to speak. Okay. Awesome.
And then other upcoming events, we have the NAACP, Juneteenth coming in June, Albany Pride also in June. Does anyone else have any events? Or did they attend any events in this past month? Great. And then business from the members.
So I have one business thought that I'd like to pass by for brief discussion. Going on the my premise that our city council is and our mayor are the lowest, well, the starting point for defense of democracy and some of the things that are really, really important to human rights, including diversity, equity, inclusion. Could we draft a resolution or ask the city council to draft a resolution in support of the legislative session, which is not occurring and is holding up massive amounts of, well, some pretty important things to people in our community because of the some of the legislators deciding not to show up for work and provide a quorum. So any thoughts on what a city council could do to draft a resolution in support of that, and at least make our elected officials go on record as supporting the legislative session?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I would know, I would certainly encourage anyone on the commission to reach out to their city councilors and ask them,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Okay.
what can we do to make sure that we're encouraging our legislators to get back to work?
Okay. All right. Do you know if the Albany, Keith, right offhand, if the Albany legislature member has been at work?
So our state senator Gelser has been at work, and
He's
she's
been at work, yes.
yes,
Okay.
Yep.
That would make sense. Okay. All right. So is there anything that, I mean, should this group try to do something as a group to support these types of activities?
Sure. I'll send an email to council asking them to consider.
Okay. Okay. Great. Excellent.
Is that something we would want to take a motion on?
Yeah, I
Just
would
so we-
support that.
A second. Oh,
We have-
if we started.
Yeah, and if we could get a stated motion
Yeah.
for what it would be.
Okay, I'll try to form it since I was the ringer. I make a motion that we ask our chairperson, Keith Kokel, to do ask the city council to address in a motion format the resolution of the ongoing legislative problems due to people not appearing for work.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. None opposed. Thank you for that, Robin. Are there any other business from the commission?
So Robin's point about this actually makes me think about the quorum issues we have. And I understand we are not paid to serve on this commission. And so maybe priorities are a little different. But one of the things that I think is powerful about what's going to happen to those legislators who are not showing up is that after a certain number of absences, they are no longer able to run again. And I know I stated this last time we met, but I feel like this work is too important to not be able to meet. And so I would like to propose a motion that we develop some sort of criteria around, X number of unexcused absences, and you will need to retire from the commission.
Okay. Thank you, Allison. Yes, I can definitely get something drafted up for our next meeting.
I can speak really briefly on that, if you don't mind.
Yes, Gabe, please.
The city manager's office actually does have a policy that's relatively new about absenteeism on commissions and boards and the like. We can provide you with what that policy is before you make ask any other recommendations, but that is a relatively recent problem or a policy based off of similar issues to what you're speaking about. So yeah, we can provide you with that and see where you'd like to go from there.
Thanks, Gabe. That's helpful information.
And we do go ahead and track absences, if they're excused or not. That might be something that this group wants to determine if that adds an additional factor, but it's something that Gina is able to pass along to city councilors if somebody in a ward is continuously not making meetings.
Mhm.
At this point, it is up to the city council member to make an action on it. It wouldn't necessarily be this group, but having that conversation with your representative also wouldn't be a bad thing.
Thanks, Kim.
And you can find on our page on the city website which member of the commission was appointed by which council member or mayor.
I have one other. Oh,
Yeah, go.
were you
go.
raising your hand, Kim?
I just had a couple of things at the end. So I realize I'm not part of the commission. I need to start putting business from staff on there. So when you all are done, let me know and I'll chime in.
I had one other proposed project, and I think it's an opportunity to work with at least one of the other commissions, maybe the Transportation Commission, or I believe there's a Public Works Commission. Nope. Or maybe the Department of Public Works then, around doing an accessibility survey. Is there something that already, Kim, your face is making me think that there's something that's happening?
Sorry, no, I'm really excited. Continue on,
Okay.
and then I'll fill in.
And I do think that there's a way to kind of do some tiers to this. But the first thing that I was thinking is how many neighborhoods have sidewalks that somebody who's using a wheelchair, they would not be able to get up on that sidewalk or get off of that sidewalk. And so I do think this is an opportunity for us to do kind of like community-based research to some degree, right? Where we have people within neighborhoods who are going to just go and do around their neighborhood and identify where there are places where somebody who is using a chair or any other kind of assistive mobility device might have challenges based on what's happening with the sidewalks in that area.
Yes, Kim.
Sorry. So yes, the Public Works Department recently actually contracted to do a ADA transition plan of the right of way. And so they had somebody come out and take a look at all of the sidewalks, and it is a lengthy list. And so I can send out the link on there. And then to piggyback on that, our department, as well as City Hall, the fire stations, and any other public space has just gone through an evaluation, and we are in the process of working on a transition plan. And so one of the items that I wanted to bring up is that it has been kind of a long conversation. And so sometimes interest and availability of folks who want to help provide feedback on that waxes and wanes. And so we are going to be reaching back out to folks to continue to help weigh in on this, 400-page document of improvements to say, okay, help us rank these. This is what our game plan is. Are we hitting the mark? Are we not doing it? And so that's something that I want to share with you all via email when it comes out, as I think this group, as individuals from the HRC, you're more than welcome to participate. But also, if you can continue to spread word to those in the community who identify as members of that group, and who would be able to give firsthand account, either from themselves or as a family member, I think that would be incredibly important. So yes, I am really happy that you brought that up, and it is timely, as it is something that the city is working on. We don't necessarily have the funds, but we need to do a better job of spreading the word as to here is what our limitations are, here are what our barriers are, help us figure out how we can address them.
That's awesome.
Jamie?
Thanks, Kim.
So does that include like the possibility of crosswalks and things like that? Okay. My daughter goes to preschool. It's housed in Lafayette Elementary. And when it rains, there is a puddle that covers at least 2/3 of two of the crosswalks.
Yes, that's no good. On that same note, I wanted to add, I know there was talk in the past with the commission on doing a community survey in general. Is that still moving forward? And would we be able to supply some additional questions?
So there is not a larger community survey going out right now. With that said, Polco is the site that we use. We're currently using one to get feedback on a sensory playground. So yes, if you come up with questions, we can add that to our next agenda meeting, figure out what ones we want to send. Typically, we're trying to keep it like under 6, just because people fatigue pretty easily. But Matt has been totally open to sending that out. We're thrilled. We would love to use the service and get some more quantitative and qualitative feedback. So yes, if this group wants to put together questions, submit them once this group approves them, let us know. And on our end, we're more than happy to push it out on social media and put out a flyer that you all can distribute as well.
Awesome. Can we just get a note to talk about that at probably in July and get that on the agenda, and maybe we can get a subcommittee, or we could do a work session around getting some questions and some polls out to the community.
Yeah, I'd like to help with that.
I would love to as well.
And there's also, to the point of ADA accessibility, we were working on some ADA stuff for Pride. And I don't know, we ended up being able to source some ADA ramps that would be able to get put over wires. that would be across the street so that people can get over them easily. But I had heard from city staff that they didn't have any ADA ramps, like portable ADA ramps that could be used.
I would have to
So I
check
would-
on that, but whoever you and I can connect, but I know we do not have any at our disposal at this point.
Okay. Yeah, that might be something we need to get for the community for Parks and Rec. All right. Any other business? Now it's all you, Kim.
All right, excellent. Thank you. So one thing I wanted to bring up, as Allison mentioned about quorum and the time, we moved from 7 till 6:30, and I just kind of wanted to pose this again because 6:30 maybe seems like it's trickier than maybe we thought. That could just be my impression. And so I, as a staff member, would kind of say, we don't necessarily have to stick with this time. If there is another opportunity that people can commit to, I know some groups meet at noon because lunch is sometimes helpful. Some groups meet at 3, some meet at 6, some meet at 7. So I just kind of wanted to throw it out there to say this, from a staff's perspective, the time switch a half an hour up hasn't seemed to scratch the itch that I think maybe we had hoped it would. So that would just be something that I would maybe ask this group to consider and for us to talk about in the future. Another thing is talking about tabling opportunities and getting out there. We are going to be making some lanyards that will say whatever the name ends up being. In the meantime, it'll say Human Relations Commission. It'll say, hello, my name is Allison, or hello, my name is Keith, that you would be able to wear as a representative of the HRC out and about in the community. So we're going to work on getting those in the next couple weeks, and we'll have them available at the Parks and Recreation front counter for you to pick up. And we also have buttons if you want to wear them. So if you want some swag, those will be available. And then I believe we placed an order for a table runner today, which I know you might be saying, don't get too excited, but that way it will be branded Human Relations Commission. Nope, I think it's already purchased. So we have an HRC one that will be available if you do farmers markets, Juneteenth, Pride, anything like that available. So it should be on its way. So just wanting to make sure that if we are out and about in the community doing any sort of tabling or just presence, that we have more than just, our tote full of flyers and candy that we're handing out. On top of that, I wanted to say, for Juneteenth, I will follow up with the link that Wendy sends in case anybody is interested in volunteering for that. I know that the city will also have 2 booths at Pride. The fire department's having one, the library's having one, and I think that's how we're confirming tomorrow if we are going to have 3 or just stick with 2 because we want to be cognizant of your space. But if the HRC, I know 2 years ago we had representation. Robin and I got to table together, and Leslie. I believe last year there was as well. So if we have volunteer spots at those 2 locations to just be a friendly face, take photos, welcome people, I'll let you know if there are opportunities to sign up. So just be on the lookout for some possible volunteer signups. And I
Awesome.
believe that is all.
Cool. Yeah, and as far as the tabling goes, if the city needs to have a booth at City Hall, and I was thinking about the library having one that was more with other nonprofits and like service-based organizations, and then the fire department was planning on doing some fundraising, so I kind of wanted to give them their own space to do specific fundraising for AFCAF, so that it wasn't, tied in with the city fundraising. So, yeah,
That makes sense.
and I believe Sadie wanted to do like a dunk tank, so I didn't think we wanted that in City Hall Plaza.
Totally good.
So there's definitely opportunity for there to be a booth at City Hall Plaza with the other community partners. That's for the city, Parks and Rec, and other departments. All right. Any other updates, Kim? All right. With that, I want to remind everyone that our next meeting is Tuesday, June 27th at 6:30. Get it in your calendars. Be prepared to answer an email from Gina about whether you'll be able to attend or not. And we are adjourning at 7:28.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a great night,
Thanks.
y'all.
Have a great night.
Thanks.